Hey folks, it's Sean. Welcome to Finding Fuscata. I like to talk about things that have been hidden from us. And right now, I'm very, very frustrated about this conversation that I keep hearing about high value men and high value women and body counts and all this other kind of stuff. For some reason, it just keeps coming across my world. And maybe it's because I got kids who are that age, or for some reason it just is always on my radar, and I'm so tired of that conversation because there's a huge gap that people just never seem to talk about or understand. And so all I can really talk about is from man's perspective. But there's two things I want to address. One is the most horrifying and damaging lie of feminism, and two is the second most horrifying and damaging lie of feminism. And the first one actually comes straight from, I've compared Ursula from The Little Mermaid to the embodiment of third wave feminism, postmodern feminism. And she said something in that movie that has just infiltrated society. And it wasn't because she said it, it's because she was mouthing the number one lie of feminism, postmodern feminism. And it's that the only thing that men are interested in is your body as a woman. It's the only thing that they want. You remember part of the reason Ursula was taking her voice is because she was saying, look, you're not going to need to talk. Men up there don't want to talk. They don't want a woman who has an opinion. They don't want any of that kind of stuff. All they care about is you for your body. So she says, don't underestimate the power of body language when you're trying to seduce the man, right? That was Ursula lying and manipulating Ariel. It wasn't true. And there's this modern belief that the only thing men want is a piece of tail, to be around somebody, who's cute, shag him and leave him. And it's like, what? I don't even understand how anybody believes that. But the worst thing is that men and women both believe it. Men think that that's true about themselves because they've been told that. They're like, all you want is a piece of tail. That's it. And a lot of men are like, yeah, tonight, but, if you dig down deep, trust me, I've known a lot of players, 23 years in the Air Force. I knew a lot of guys who were laying a lot of pipe. And 100% of them had really, really bad mommy issues. They had bad daddy issues. They were like broken and lonely, and they just could never let anybody in close to them, but once you get to know them, you're deployed somewhere and there's nothing else to do, and you got to talk a little bit, or you go out drinking and there's no girls around, so that they just finally open up a little bit. Every one of these guys that I met that were total players would just break down crying. Nobody loves me. I can never find anybody to get close. I want to share my heart. I want to share my dreams. I want to build a life. Like 100% of them. But they've been told that the only thing that they want is to get a piece of tail. So they think that's what they do. And now you got all these young women too who have bought into this lie that, all men want is a piece of tail. And it's so bad that now if you say that maybe I'm not interested in somebody who's transgender because I'm not going to jive with them, well, they'll say, well, what's the difference? It's a hole. Like, I've heard people say this. It just breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart. And don't get me wrong, if you meet somebody who's transgender and you guys click and you get that heart harmony going on, and you really jive and you're into that kind of thing, go ahead and fall in love. It's cool. But don't think that you're transphobic because you're not just seeking just a whole. You're seeking like an entire human being. You want the whole entire human relation experience. If that's what you want, then that's what you should go after. If you're just trying to get laid, then you're wrong. You need to unfuck yourself. Anyway. So the second insidious lie tells women that if they want to attract a man, if they want to attract a partner, then they have to have like a degree and a this and a that. They have to be like career oriented. They got to be like all that other kind of stuff. I have no idea where that comes from. There's zero scientific literature. There's zero evidence. It's a complete fantasy. That's like saying if you want somebody to fall in love with you, you got to have like a unicorn with really big balls. It's insane. It makes no sense whatsoever. And from my personal experience, when I was looking for a partner, when I was looking for a spouse, the only reason why I would choose somebody with a degree and with a career over somebody who didn't have a degree and didn't have a career was if I thought that if I had some kind of endeavor, if I had, if I was trying to build my career, if I was doing something else, and her education and experience background would like benefit us as a family, right? Because I'm a big believer in whoever the primary breadwinner is in a relationship, both people need to be 100% committed to whatever that career is, right? So when I was in the military, I had good health insurance, I had the biggest paycheck, I had all that kind of stuff, I had a lot of demands, and I expected that my wife would be there to support me and make sure that I could go and take care of that kind of stuff, because I was providing the roof over my head, I was providing insurance, I was providing food, I was providing income, I was providing, vehicles, I was providing all that kind of stuff through my income. If she wanted to do something on her own, cool, great, With my second wife, I paid for her to go to school to go get her paramedic license. I like, her EMT training. And then later, while we were going through divorce, I didn't know we were getting a divorce, long story, but I helped pay for her paramedic license because that was an important thing for her, right? And I wanted her to be able to like flourish and have a good life and pursue her dreams. So absolutely, I'll finance my partner's dreams. But if you're the primary breadwinner, then the other person has to get in line and cheer you on, right? And it's not just like the man, like let's say hypothetically, I got remarried to a surgeon, right? Highly unlikely, but let's just say, right? Is my civil service job as a construction manager going to take precedence over her job as a surgeon? Hell no. I'll do anything that I can to go be her backup singer and go be her cheerleader and make sure she has everything that she needs. The house taken care of, everything's done, blah, blah, blah. Take care of my husbandly duties, whatever, to make sure that she has the life that she needs and her career has the support that it needs. Because that's the way that you do it. Whoever is more committed to their career, whoever is the bigger breadwinner, whoever brings more resources to the family, the other person gets to be their backup singer. And that's just how it goes. It's like Chris Rock said, if you're in a band, sometimes you get to play lead, and sometimes you're a tambourine player. And you know what? You better play the tambourine as best you can. Don't look like an idiot in the back and be a bored tambourine player. Do your job and support that person. And sometimes, you may take over. Maybe somebody's in a transition, whatever. So whoever is in the lead needs to be filling that role. So going back to the second line of feminism, though, is that like, I don't give a flying, I don't care about your qualifications, about your career, about your income. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. What I care about is if I'm going to be the primary breadwinner, if I'm going to put food on the table and a roof over the head and a car and make sure you have insurance and make sure you have all that kind of stuff, Is your experience, is your degree, do you have the character that it takes to support me, to help me build that? Will you come alongside me and embrace my vision and help me mold my vision so that it's not just my vision, but it's our vision for our family, so that we can build something together, so that we can have a life together, so that we can leave a legacy for coming generations? That's what I care about. My wife doesn't have a degree. She never went to college, but she knows how to manage money. She understands how to run a household. She understands how to support me. She is there for me no matter what. She's 100% got my back, even if she thinks I'm wrong sometimes. And she knows that I would do the same for her if the roles were reversed. The thing I keep thinking about is, I think it's Paul talked about the relationship between a husband and wife. And I think it's in Ephesians, where a lot of people say, the Bible says that women should be submissive to their husbands. Interesting, it says to their own husbands. But it also says that husbands are to love their wives the way that Christ loved the church. What does that mean? What did Christ do for the church? He laid down his life. Whether you believe it's historical or you believe it's mythological, that letter to the Ephesians in Ephesus is a historical letter. Somebody wrote to somebody else, and it was a philosopher or spiritual leader or apostle, or however you decide to interpret that. It's still, it's a valid point. And that is how husbands are supposed to love their wives. Like, you have to love your wife and be willing to lay down your life for her. And I believe that there's an evolutionary reason behind that. I believe that there's an evolutionary reason why, men traditionally have been more easily sacrificed in the name of expanding civilization or in winning wars or whatever. I mean, for how many thousands of years was, the answer to any civilization's problem, whether it was expansion or construction or war or whatever, the answer to the problem was, let's find as many bodies of men that we can and throw it at the problem. Yeah, most of them will die, but who cares? We've got lots of men. And they didn't throw the women at the problem because they need the women to make the next generation. You could wipe out 90% of the population of men in any given civilization. As long as the women are still there and reproductive, those dudes can repopulate the country. It's great, right? It's a win for the winners. But look, we got to get past these discussions. You can't, you can't be thinking about that kind of stuff. And for the ladies out there, no decent man is gonna care what you've done as far as like education and career and everything like that. Unless whatever it is that you do is going to be able to contribute equally to the two of you becoming, one person in marriage and building a life together. It's the only time it matters. And we really need to stop thinking about, this is so incredibly important. We have to stop thinking about women as just sex objects. Starting with the feminists. Seriously. I mean, if it wasn't for postmodern feminism, we wouldn't have the adult entertainment industry that we have now. That's women's liberation, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm a libertarian. If that's what you want to do, if you want to, be an adult film star, and that's like your life ambition, then legally you should absolutely be able to do that. And you should be able to get paid respectably, because that is very difficult work. And, there's a need for it. There's a demand for it, right? Same thing with people who work in other adult, intimate industries. I think, for my money, I think that prostitution should be like legal, culturally accepted, and covered by insurance. Honestly, I think it would solve a lot of the world's problems if some of these dudes could just get laid once in a while. But that's a whole other conversation. But look, that doesn't mean, but the reason for that, though, is not just because some dudes need to get laid. It's because some people need to be able to, like, break that ice. Some people need to, have servicing. Some people need to realize that, they can try that, but then it's not really what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for commitment. Maybe they want to, they've bought into this lie, and, they want to try it without, breaking anybody's heart or risking getting into real relationships, so that they can find out, like, oh, yeah, I tried all that kind of stuff. I thought maybe I was just looking for a wormhole to, stick my appendages in, but it turns out I'm interested in somebody's heart, and I'm interested in somebody's mind, and I'm interested in somebody's future, and I'm interested in adding value and meaning to my life and to somebody else's life, right? Without doing any damage. And maybe somebody gets paid for doing something that they love to do in the meantime. I mean, it seems like a win-win to me, but I digress. You're worth more than that. Your life is worth more than that. I know that we've all been told that, we're just matter. We're just random conglomerations of, atoms flip-flopping around the planet for no fucking reason. But it doesn't feel that way. It certainly doesn't feel that way. It feels like this is real. It feels like this is important. It feels like this matters. It feels like I love my wife. It feels like I love my children. It feels like I love my community and my country. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And that I love it in a way that I'm going to do whatever I can, in whatever small way that I can, to make all those things a little bit better. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Hope you're doing well, and hope you're taking care of yourself. Hope you're taking care of each other. And yeah, I think you're probably gonna want to comment on this one, right? Yes, you are. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, blah blah blah, and see me soon.